What a game. The Indiana Fever snap the New York Liberty's undefeated streak.
The word undeniable exists for a reason, and it applies to Caitlin Clark. She is just absolutely undeniable, and her return to the Indiana Fever showed it once again. It felt like a jolt of energy to the WNBA, obviously to the Indiana Fever, who
The WNBA may have just made one of the biggest blunders in recent sports memory. Right after Caitlin Clark came back from an injury and dropped 32 points on the reigning champs, the Liberty news broke that she's been drug tested 11 times this season. That decision has the internet up in arms, and the reactions online? Harsh, fast, and honestly, pretty funny. Now, the league is facing major backlash that clearly caught them off guard. So the big question is the WNBA really trying to hold back its biggest star on purpose? Or is this just a case of poor judgment and bad timing?
I'm gonna say it. Caitlin Clark is the best basketball player in the world. She's the best basketball player that I have ever seen. She is the difference maker. She is the needle mover. She is the face of basketball right now. It's really hard not to recognize the difference that she makes on the Indiana Fever, a team that was obviously struggling with playmaking, struggling with pacing, struggling with the things that make us want to watch. And she steps into that court, and in the first quarter, she made...
Let's start with the facts, because honestly, they're so over the top, they almost don't sound real. Caitlin Clark comes back from a 5-game injury break, puts up 32 points, and leads her team to a huge win over the defending champs, snapping New York's undefeated streak. It was a statement game, no doubt. And what does she get for that performance? A drug test. According to reports, it's her 11th one this season. To put that in perspective, most WNBA players are tested about 3 times during the regular season, and just once in the off-season. So yeah, people are raising eyebrows.
And Cunningham is down behind the play, but they've got Caitlin Clark to fire away from 2 players with incredible...
The WNBA saw Caitlin Clark's stat line and apparently thought, 32 points after missing 5 games? No way, that's just talent and hard work. She must be on something, because apparently skill, preparation, and elite performance weren't enough to explain what she did. So they hit her with a drug test, her 11th this season, according to reports. To put that into context, most WNBA players get tested 3 times during the regular season and once in the off-season. 11? That's not just unusual. It's raising serious questions. Social media didn't hold back. One person joked she tested positive for goat blood, probably the most accurate test result in sports history. Another said, while they're at it, maybe test Scott Foster too. A not-so-subtle jab at WNBA officiating. But one of the best comments? Someone suggested they should have done a DNA test instead, just to check if Clark is actually human. After all, 3 3-pointers in 38 seconds to start the game? That's not normal. That's video game stuff. The timing of the test couldn't have been worse, or more embarrassing, for the league. Clark had just come back from a 5-game break with a quad injury. In her return, she faced the top team in the league and reminded everyone exactly why she's the face of women's basketball. Her performance wasn't just strong, it was historic. The Fever hit a franchise record 17 3-pointers, and Clark looked like she hadn't missed a beat. Fans tuned in, the buzz returned, and just like that, the league had a moment. And what did they do? Instead of celebrating it, they questioned it. They responded by testing her. Again, it sent the wrong message. At the worst possible time. Yes, drug tests in the WNBA are supposed to be random. But 11 times in one season? That doesn't look random anymore. It starts to look like targeting. Other players are tested maybe 3 or 4 times a year. Clark, it seems, is getting the VIP treatment, complete with a post-game drug test whenever she dominates. She's the star who brought national attention to the league, boosted ratings, and got new fans watching women's basketball. But instead of protecting her, it feels like the league is punishing her. Let's talk about what actually happened in that game against the Liberty. Because Caitlin Clark played so well, it apparently triggered a drug test. From the opening tip, she came out firing, draining 3 deep threes from the logo in the first quarter. Brianna Stewart gave her 5 feet of space and still watched the ball go straight through the net. That's not the result of anything artificial. That's pure talent and the kind of confidence only true superstars have. But Clark's brilliance wasn't just in her shooting. She controlled the offense, set up teammates with clean looks, and made the defending champs look out of sync on their own floor. Watch the footage. It's obvious this wasn't some lucky hot streak. It was a clinic. She clearly used her time off to study the game and came back ready to take down the league's top team. And instead of celebrating her return, someone at the WNBA decided her performance needed investigating, as if greatness needs to be questioned. As if there's no way someone could actually be that good without help. Fans saw right through it. One commenter nailed the mood. The WNBA can't believe they finally have a good player. That about sums it up. The league seems so unfamiliar with genuine star power, they don't know how to react when it shows up. Another fan pointed out that Clark has been drug tested more times than Angel Reese scores points per game. Funny, but also true. The jokes didn't stop there. 12 assists? Must be drugs. Logo threes again? Suspicious. Makes her team better just by showing up? Time for another test. It's turned into a running gag. Clark plays great. The league pulls out the test kit. What they've created is a situation where excellence doesn't get applause. It gets questioned. Here's what makes this whole situation even more frustrating. Caitlin Clark's performance wasn't some shocking breakout. That might raise eyebrows. She's been doing this for years. The deep threes, the no-look passes, the court vision that feels almost unreal. This is her game. Anyone who's followed her college career knows that when she's healthy, this is just standard Clark. So for the league to respond to her return game with a drug test sends the wrong message. Either they don't understand their own biggest star, or they don't want to believe she's actually this good. And frankly, neither of those options speaks well of WNBA leadership, or their ability to recognize and support elite talent. What happened against the Liberty wasn't a fluke. It was Caitlin Clark getting back to her normal level of play after missing time with an injury. And with her back, the Indiana Fever didn't just look better, they looked completely different. The offense clicked. Teammates had better shots. And just like that, they were competing toe-to-toe with the defending champs. Meanwhile, social media lit up with jokes and criticism. Some fans went as far as saying the league seems more interested in sabotaging its own star than promoting her. And honestly, it's not hard to see why they'd think that. When your top player puts on a show that should be celebrated league-wide, and your first move is to test her, it looks like you've completely missed the point of how to grow a pro sports league. People naturally start comparing it to the NBA. When Steph Curry drains 9 threes in a game, the league doesn't question it. They market it. They lean into it. That's how you build excitement around the game. When Steph Curry hits 9 threes in an NBA game, the league doesn't drug test him. They post the highlights. When an NFL quarterback throws for 400 yards, it's a cause for celebration. But in the WNBA, it seems like excellence comes with suspicion. One brutal fan comment summed it up. Clark's been drug tested more times than she's been marketed by the league. That cuts to the core of what many see as the WNBA's ongoing identity crisis. They have a once-in-a-generation talent who's bringing new fans, attention, and revenue. And instead of celebrating her, the league keeps treating her like a question mark. The timing only made it worse. Clark's return game was must-watch TV. Fans tuned in specifically to see how she'd perform after her injury. And she delivered. Viral highlights, record shooting, a win over the champs. It was exactly the kind of moment the WNBA needs more of. But instead of riding that momentum, the next headline was about her getting drug tested again. Technically, testing is supposed to be random. But when one player gets picked over and over, especially after big performances, it stops looking random and starts feeling targeted. At best, it's tone-deaf. At worst, it's a sign the league doesn't know how to support its own stars. And the irony? Clark is exactly what the WNBA should be celebrating. She sells out arenas, she boosts TV ratings, she moves merchandise. She's brought women's basketball into the national spotlight in a way we haven't seen before. But instead of centering their marketing around her, it seems the league is centering their drug testing schedule. Fans have noticed, and they're not quiet about it. Social media has been flooded with criticism, sarcasm, and jokes. Some are mocking the idea that Clark needs testing at all. Others are asking why the league isn't testing the players who can't keep up with her. And when your audience is making fun of how you treat your top star, you've officially lost control of the narrative. Worse yet, those jokes are now getting more engagement than the game itself. And that's a sign your priorities as a league are completely out of line. The internet's response to all this has been nothing short of relentless and incredibly creative. The jokes, memes, and commentary have turned this into a comedy goldmine. But behind